Somebody else that has a bye week is the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia went on the road and played another sloppy game. I mean, guys, they start slow in some games. That's just how this Georgia team has done it. But then they'll hit you with a flurry of points, a flurry of big plays, things like that. And the mark of a good team, just like with Alabama, is can you find different ways to win football games? And Georgia has shown that. In fact, Georgia has shown that 40 out of the last 41 college football games they've won. The last 34 regular season games, Georgia has won. Their last 24 games overall, Georgia has won. The last two national championships, back-to-back national championships, Georgia has won. So Georgia finds ways to win football games. That's just the fact of it's not anything other than a fact of life. Georgia finds ways to win football games. Carson Beck continued to play pretty good, had a couple of drops on the day where he should have probably been 32 of 39 instead of 29 of 39. Had one interception, ball was tipped, but the biggest difference with Carson Beck is, I mean, he not only after that ball was intercepted, he sprinted and made a tackle at the 1 yard line. That's a different Carson Beck than we've seen in years past, where the body language would have been down. He wouldn't have gave max effort chasing that guy. So I think that's a leadership thing. That's how you kind of continue to win over some teammates. Daijun Edwards continues to be maybe the most important player, for Georgia right now, especially with the injury to Brock Bowers, because he's just so consistent running the football. You can't rely on Kendall Milton because he can't stay healthy. Unfortunately for that young man, he cannot stay healthy. His MCL kind of tightened up on him. Hopefully that the bye week he can get some rest and get full strength for Georgia there, because they're going to need all the health and stuff like that they can get after the bye week. I think when you're talking about the Brock Bowers situation, okay, if he's out for any time, if he has to have something cleaned up in his ankle, or if there's some kind of deal where he has to have a procedure and he's out, 4 or 6 weeks, something along those lines, Georgia still has the weapons to win, especially with their defense. When their defense is playing at full capacity on all cylinders, Georgia has the depth, has the talent to win every game they have in front of them, even without Brock Bowers. Dominic Lovett has not really been, full scale, just totally integrated into this offense. He's been more of a change up type, throw it out on the perimeter thing of that nature. But I think there will be 3 really that get a lot more work going forward if you see Brock Bowers miss any time. One, Ladd McConkey has been just kind of a pseudo factor to this point because his back has been bothering him and things like that. I think he's going to be fully healthy, ready to go after this bye week, headed into Florida. Healthy Ladd McConkey, that's a big thing. 1, Dominic Lovett, that's another one. And 2, we know what kind of weapon he was at Missouri. We know that he's done some good things for Georgia this year. 9 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown for Georgia in this last game. The most production that he's had in terms of the number of catches, targets, things of that nature. I don't think there's any coincidence in that with Brock Bowers being out. And then Oscar Delp, that third one, I'm going to make kind of a combo between Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky. Oscar Delp, guys, is a tight end that would start at any school in the country, in my opinion, at tight end. If he's not the starter, he's the guy coming in when you go 12 personnel. He's the 1B to whoever the 1A is, because Oscar Delp was an All-American player coming out of high school. He's just big, talented, physical, getting better at the run blocking game. Can do a lot of the same stuff in terms of route running and the catching ability. He's not as good after the catch as Brock Bowers, but who is? I mean, that is, losing Brock Bowers, if they do for any amount of time, would be a huge blow in terms of, I think he's the best player in all of college football. But Georgia is not without weapons that they can spread the ball around to. Dominic Lovett, Ladd McConkey, Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky, who was heavily recruited tight end as well that turned some head in the spring. Ra Thomas is still kind of, getting involved in this pro style system here for Georgia. Dylan Bell is another name. Marcus Rosemary-Jackson. I mean, they've got a ton of guys. And if Arian Smith ever decides to catch a football right now, his confidence is kind of shot a little bit, then they'll have an opportunity to, continue to spread the ball around. Carson Beck will, and to continue to be very productive offensively. It'll change the look of things maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit less 12 personnel at times, things like that. But, I think Georgia's still got plenty of weapons, and we'll see what happens probably later this week. We'll see, a final deal on Brock and what's going on over there. Defensively, I think Georgia's going to be absolutely fine. They had one really busted coverage, poor communication on a thing. Vanderbilt was trying to focus on getting the ball out quick, not allowing that pass rush to be a factor, which was smart on Vanderbilt's part. But, on the back end, guys, I think Georgia's playing pretty well. Other than that miscommunication, their safety room is as good as anybody in the country, especially when Dan Jackson is available back there to give even more depth. He got sick before the game, wasn't able to play. Maybe at some point this year they get Tyron Ingram Dawkins back up front and provide some more depth up front. But, guys, this Georgia defense, I think, like I said, until somebody beats Georgia, you just have to say Georgia's the best team in the country until someone beats them. I think that's the way it goes, because when you're talking about a team that finds different ways to win ball games, that's them. They've had slow starts. They've come back and won. They've looked dominant at times and been able to, do it with defense. They've done it with offense. So I'm not worried about Georgia at all. I think they'll get healthy over this bye week and kind of bounce back right into things.